If you trade or invest in Palantir, Nvidia, or Robinhood, you're going to need to know about these few updates as well as expected price moves. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm preparing my portfolio for these expected shifts in price and exactly what I'm doing with my current position. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing what I'm doing for educational purposes only. Results may vary. Let's go ahead and do a portfolio update. As you can see, new all-time highs in the portfolio. I'm gonna go over my realized gain and loss because we are halfway through the month. So I want to go over, today's gain was pretty good, but I wanna go over exactly how I've been performing for the month for educational purposes and transparency reasons to show you that, my strategy that I deploy, I'm sticking with it. So as you can see for the month, this is the total gain. Pretty good. We're on track for my 3 to 5% monthly goal. Obviously, results vary, but we're on my way to my goal. Now, I also want to share some client inspiration. We had some recent posts yesterday. This client had a major improvement in his portfolio since joining 3 months ago. So that was amazing. Today, we've had some wins. As you can see, people showing their inspiration. Obviously, it's going to vary based on account size and risk tolerance, but we have clients having massive improvements following and applying the strategies that I teach, as you can see here. But I do share my trades as well as my leaps, entries, and exits here in the channel. So if you do want access to that, that's at the top of the description. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Before we do, if you do want my free trade ideas of the week, I give those away on my Instagram and my free newsletter, which are both down in the description. Make sure to be subscribed to both. But we're gonna go over the markets, kind of what the news is today. Anthropic, Google, OpenAI, and xAI granted up to $200 million for AI work from the Defense Department. So this is a massive piece of news for artificial intelligence companies, and that's why I'm talking about Nvidia and Palantir. Palantir is a direct beneficiary of this, okay? And then Nvidia is kind of a side beneficiary of this because obviously everyone needs Nvidia chips to run their artificial intelligence. But as you can see, Palantir and Anthropic, they already partnered last year to bring Claude AI models to AWS for the US government intelligence and defense operations. So Palantir is seeing quite a run today because they are benefiting directly from this 200 million grant, okay? Also, we're talking about Robinhood because Robinhood does correlate heavily to Bitcoin prices, and Bitcoin last night hit a high of I believe almost 123K, so 122,944. So pretty amazing result for Bitcoin to kind of hit these levels that we've been waiting for, but amazing to see. And Robinhood obviously is correlated to Bitcoin, so it is seeing a price movement as well. But let's go ahead and talk about the markets, okay? Kind of what I'm doing as far as cash goes and just positioning myself to be, not too cash heavy, but enough to where if we do get a pullback, I'll be ready for that pullback. Now, we are consolidating here sideways. This is exactly what we wanted to see, kind of a nice consolidation before the next leg up. And I believe tomorrow, once that core CPI data comes in, I think it will be good. The market should head higher from here. Worst case scenario, if the inflation data is bad, QQQ could potentially head to this 539 level, which would be, for me, a dip buying opportunity, okay? But I do think we will head higher. VIX trading at 1697. It was in the 17s today, so I did allocate more to the current positions that I have on because if we go to my VIX cash allocation levels, you could see we're trading somewhere between VIX 15 and 20, which means I could have 60 to 80% of my cash allocated to positions or 20 to 40% cash on the side. I currently have around 13%, I believe 13% cash on the side because I'm very aggressive here and I do believe we are headed higher in the markets. So let's go ahead and look at the earnings calendar. I'm gonna go over the stocks in this order, okay? We're gonna go over Palantir or Nvidia first, okay? Because their earnings are August 27th. So we have some time to position ourselves correctly for Nvidia, okay? August 27th, those earnings. Then Palantir, will be next because those earnings are August 4th. And then Robinhood, I'm going to show you exactly what I did today. I made a major shift in the portfolio because earnings are coming for July 30th, okay? So Robinhood those earnings are coming up the fastest, but we'll talk about that last. But before we jump into it, if you want one-on-one mentorship with me and my 242 other clients in Options Trading University, you want to join us, that will be at the top of the description. You could even watch some of our client testimonials here. I upload new ones every single week, so check that out. But let's go ahead and jump into it, okay? The very first stock we're gonna talk about is Nvidia. This thing just keeps hitting new all-time highs. Last Friday, we hit new all-time highs of 167, okay? And today we're trading around 164. So we're just kind of hugging this upper Bollinger Band for quite a long time, right? So of course it feels weird getting into the stock at these high prices, especially since we're overextended on the RSI. But I do believe we can potentially head much higher, as you see kind of my price prediction for mid-September, maybe early October is 180. I think we'll get there, especially with all of this money coming into the AI sector. So, Nvidia is trading at a great valuation, 53 PE ratio, which is lower than it was trading back here when we were at all-time highs, okay? And this PE ratio was like in the 70s, okay? Yeah, we were at 82 actually. So we're trading at great valuations, and I want to get the stock at a discount if the market does roll over, okay? I don't want to just be buying the stock here. So what I personally did, and we're going to log into the account. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm just showing this for educational purposes. But as you can see in the account, okay, we're going to go to my Nvidia position. And I currently have about 60K worth of cash secured puts, okay? So if the stock falls below 150 by expiration in 18 days, I will be assigned 100 shares. I'll be forced to buy 100 shares at $150. So that's the risk I take there for this amount of premium, okay, that I generate on, a 30 to 35 day basis. But if we look at the options chain, okay, we're going to go out to earnings week, which is going to be this expiration right here, August 29th. The expected move is 40, so it's $21. So the stock from here to now can potentially move about $21, especially on that earnings week. So we could be in the low 140s all the way up to the 180s, okay? So that's the expected move. And I want to position myself so if the worst case scenario happens, I'll get assigned at a good price and still be able to collect some income, right? Still be able to collect some covered call income. So I'm thinking about, rolling my positions probably to earnings week, okay? And I'll probably do that in the next, I don't know, maybe in the next 5 to 10 days. And I'll probably go to this 150 strike again, okay? Now, the ROI there is about 2.85%. Remember, these prices aren't guaranteed because these move, right? The stock is moving. So by the time you see this, it may be different, all right? But this is a 2.85% ROI potential, all right? I like the 150 strike because, again, if the stock falls to the low 140s, I'll still be able to collect a decent amount of premium at my cost basis at 150. So I do like that strike and I feel safe there. If I wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, I'd go to the 155, okay? And we'll kind of take a look at where that is, okay? So as far as discounts go from all-time highs, if I got assigned at 150, all right, that's all the way down here below the middle Bollinger Band line, that's a 10% discount from all-time highs. If I got assigned at 155, which I actually might do the 155s, just get a little bit more aggressive, that's a 7.34% discount. So, I'm actually thinking about, now that I'm looking at it, the 155s look a lot more attractive, 3.75 ROA. Remember, not potential, not guaranteed, but I like that number. So I'm probably gonna do those. So that's gonna be my Nvidia play. Very bullish on Nvidia, long-term, great fundamentals. I mean, the stock is moving in a nice upward trend like previous years where we just saw it hugging the upper Bollinger Band for a very long time, maybe a slight dip down to the mid Bollinger Band line, but then back to the upper Bollinger Band. So that's kind of the expectation here. We could get a dip to the middle Bollinger Band. If I was able to pick up shares there, perfect, okay? 155 would be that strike, that ideal strike to get assigned shares. So that is the Nvidia trade. All right, let's talk about Palantir. Palantir, long-term price projection, okay? By early October, I think this thing could get to 170. But we're going to take a look at what the market makers are predicting, are expecting the move to be, okay? We are touching all-time highs today. And, you know, the stock just, it's been kind of in a sideways trend, but now it might run, okay? It might run into earnings. Now, if we go to my position, okay, we can see that I currently have about 139K in cash secured put collateral, all right? So if I were assigned the shares, I'd be locking up that much collateral. And I currently have the 125s, the 128s, and the 129s for August 1st is the latest expiration, okay? So that is 1 week before earnings. So potentially I may play earnings. I might play for that higher implied volatility, which is going to be a 23-point expected move. So the stock could fall to 123 from here, or it could go all the way up to 170, okay? So the expected move that the market makers are pricing in is pretty substantial, okay? Pretty substantial. So if I go here, I want to be somewhere in the high 120s preferably, or the low 130s, so that if I do get assigned, if the stock does have bad earnings and it does fall all the way down to 123 as expected by the market makers, then I want to be able to collect some income. So I want to, on the covered call side, right? So if we just look at how I do it is I'll look at the current strike, okay, 147. And I'll just look like 10 points above. So that would be, you know, technically around this 157 area. That's a 40 delta. Great premiums there. So I like it as long as I could get 10 points away, which would be about from the expected move. So from today's price, that'd be about 133. Okay, so the 133 is a 25 delta. ROI there is 3.56%. Remember, not guaranteed. These numbers change. Okay, but I like that return profile there. That meets my monthly goal, okay? So I'm probably gonna roll out to these just to kind of secure this for July, and then kind of you know, take advantage of the high implied volatility for earnings. So if we take a look at Palantir, again, you know, from today's price, if I got assigned at 133, which would be, you know, pretty big drop, that'd be about a 10% drop, okay, with premium included, 10% drop from here. Okay, that's pretty good, right? And it's below this trend line, kind of a lot of support right here at this area. So that would be pretty decent. And then we just kind of ride that back up for the long term, all right? And that is right above the lower Bollinger Band, which is at 130. So if I wanted to be safer, I'd go to the 130 strike, which is the lower Bollinger Band, which is a 2 standard deviation move, or basically what that means is 95% of the time the stock will stay within these 2 bands, okay? So Palantir, obviously a beneficiary of this AI defense bill kind of passing, and money already being allocated to these companies for, granted to these companies for building out the Department of Defense. So Palantir, very bullish on, yes, super high PE ratio, but PE ratio on this stock really doesn't matter because it's a unicorn. I do believe this will be a $1 trillion company, and it's just getting started. So, and the chart is beautiful, nice upward trending. So that's kind of my obviously take there, kind of what I'm doing potentially in the next 3 to 7 days, maybe even 10 days. But definitely I'm going to be adjusting my positions. Now let's get into Robinhood, because this is a stock that I already adjusted, okay? Because earnings are coming up. I wanted to just be prepared. I wanted to play earnings, and this stock is just riding this upper Bollinger Band. PE ratio is pretty low, 56 for this stock, which is huge, especially because they're coming out with their own blockchain. They're getting into you know, stable coins and ETF, tokenizing ETFs and securities and stocks, and globalizing the US stock market for the world to be able to participate very thoroughly and easily. So I do think that long term, this company has a lot of growth potential. And usually when we see stocks right at that $90 mark, they go straight to 100. It did that, and they usually stick around 100 and then go higher. So rarely do we see pullbacks on stocks that go straight to 100. But again, we could see a pullback on potentially, softer expectations. And let's kind of check out what the market makers are pricing in. So we rolled this whole position. As you can see, 132K in collateral for cash secured puts. If I get assigned, I'll be locking up this amount of capital. But I went to the 88 strikes, okay? I sold 15 cash secured puts for earnings week at the 88 strikes. And I did that very specifically, okay? Because if from, all-time highs down to 88, all right, that is about a 13.4% discount on the stock. And I did that primarily because this trend line right here, if it did hit that, it would be around the 88. Like, let's just say it hit that in the next couple weeks, that would be along this trend line here, which it should hold. And that's kind of the middle Bollinger Band as well. So if I do pick up shares there, then I'll obviously ride it up back to all-time highs or back to above 100. So I really like that play, but let's take a look at what the market makers are expecting the move to be. So again, I factored this into how I sell cash secured puts because I want to make sure that if the expected move happens to the downside, I'm able to collect enough income on the covered calls. So as you can see, earnings week, August 1st, 18 days, okay? Expected move is $15 from here. So it could go down to $84, worst case, and upwards of $115, $114, right, on the upside. So if it did go down to $84, I would get assigned on my 88 puts, all right, but there would still be plenty of income to collect on the covered call side, because if we go to 99 and then we go 3 points or 4 points up, you can see there's plenty of income to collect. There's plenty of premium to collect there, okay? So I feel comfortable getting assigned at 88, but that was, this was the play. I basically rolled my 80 puts up to 88, all right, for an additional 2.95% in this amount of days for the month of July. So, and I locked in about 4K. So that was pretty nice there. Obviously, these premiums aren't guaranteed because numbers change all the time. But I like 88. That feels like a safe play and potentially may get assigned on softer earnings or maybe a disappointment in earnings. So we're going to play it. Robinhood long-term, love it. If we look at the stock, I mean, this chart looks absolutely amazing. This is exactly how a chart should look, especially when trading the wheel strategy. So if you do want to learn how to trade the wheel strategy and you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I'm going to link another video right here on exactly how I trade the wheel strategy on some of my favorite stocks, okay? And that's something I do to basically collect monthly premium. So check that video out and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.